Well, it's Saturday, the 27th of February. It's a beautiful day and the seas are calm. You know what that means. Yes, of course, the migrant boats are coming again. Now, last week we had Immigration Minister Chris Philp boasting. He said because of the extra £28 million that we've given the French, that makes it over 130 million we've given them in the last couple of years. And the money we're giving them is to stop the migrant boats from coming. He boasted that 72% of those attempting to cross the channel had been stopped from doing so. And yet, the numbers are now running ahead of where they were at the moment this time last year. Remember, last year, 8,500 people came. So what it means is even more people want to come. Now, I know you thought that with Brexit, we were taking back control of our borders, and Priti Patel told us that without EU rules, it'd be much easier to return people to France. And remember, France is a safe country, so nobody should be claiming refugee status in Britain if they've come from a safe country. But here's the problem. There is no returns policy of any kind in place with the French, and to date, we haven't had the guts or the courage to turn around and tow back a single boat. Remember, that's how the Australians solved this 10 years ago. Now, in the last few weeks, something very interesting has been happening. We've had a very successful, or having a very successful, vaccine rollout program compared to 20 miles across the water in France. For every one person in France who's been vaccinated, the number here is between 7 and 8. And our case numbers are going down. In France, they are surging. And one of the hotspots in the whole of France for COVID-19 is the industrial port of Dunkirk. Where are the migrant boats coming from? They're launching from the beach of Gravelines, right next to the port of Dunkirk. Now, I've noticed something in the last week. If you look at the numbers, the coronavirus case numbers for Kent, in every single part of Kent, they're falling sharply, apart from one little bit of Kent. Guess where? Yep, you've guessed it, Dover and its surrounds, where cases have increased by up to 20%. So I've seen the link between the migrant boats coming and cases rising in Dover and the area, but I haven't said anything about it over the last few days for fear that I get shouted down. Well, this morning, early this Saturday morning, a migrant boat with 12 on board was picked up by Border Force. They were tested at sea and all 12 on the boat tested COVID positive. With that, there was a degree of panic in Dover docks. All the civilian workers working in the Western docks were sent home. And have a look at this footage. So that's exclusive footage. You won't see it anywhere else. They are people who've come illegally into Britain, they're COVID positive, and you see Border Force wearing the hazmat suits. Where they're going to take them, how they're going to deal with them, I simply don't know. But here's the worst part of the story. The worst part of the story is this. In the first video I did last year on this, when I was out there in the Channel, I showed you the French Navy literally escorting migrant boats once they'd launched, and escorting them for miles until they came into British waters and were then handed over to UK Border Force. I exposed that practice of the French Navy escorting. They are still doing it. So we are paying the French to export COVID cases into the United Kingdom at a time when we're all told we should stay at home. That is completely outrageous. You know, border controls always matter, in my opinion. They certainly matter at the height of a pandemic. And I think this is a moment when Priti Patel needs to say to the French, stop the practice of escorting illegal dinghies into British waters, because we won't accept them anymore. Let's see if the government has got the guts to do it. This story today makes me really, really angry.